Hello, I'm making these videos about clean wealth, and I'm actually working on several technologies that could bring that clean wealth. And I would like to talk about them now for a short time. First of all, you have everybody's seen these satellite dishes, these radio receiving dishes, and they are also used for solar power. Sometimes you see them with a generator in the center, so you have like a dish like this, and it's turning around with the sun. And in the focal point, because these type of parabolic dishes have one focal point, you catch the heat, and then you make electricity with that heat in that focal point. Usually you use a Stirling engine, which is a very efficient heat engine, and not the most efficient, but the only one promoted by the energy companies. Anyway, I have a website where I promote the solar ball, which is a cheaper version of that technology. Basically what you do is you don't try to turn with the sun with your dish. You build it into the ground, which basically requires you to make kind of a skateboard ball or a swimming pool ball, and then line it with reflective material like this, and you can buy very good, highly reflective material, aluminium material, very cheap, very thin, at low cost, and then you create a focal point which is a little bit different. It looks like this. It is a line. Oh, it's a line here, and if the sun turns, because of course the ball doesn't turn, then the line gets like this. So the funny thing about these things is that they do not track the sun. The ball doesn't track the sun, which makes it very cheap to build. But the receiver, so the part where the sun focuses, oh, I have to point here, that turns with the sun. And that means that it is a little bit less efficient, because in the morning and in the evening you don't get much power out of it. That's just the same like solar panels. If you fix them on your roof, then there's an optimal angle that they that they're fixed on, hopefully, and that's where they get the most power. In the morning and in the evening they get less power. So you get kind of a sinus output. But in return for that slightly smaller output, you get very cheap installation, which you can basically build yourself. If you're a builder in the US and you have all these building subsidies, start using them to make solar ball installations. They are an American invention. They are an invention from the 70s, when the oil companies in Texas were looking for ways to augment the oil energy that they use to power the cities. There's a Crosbyton. It's a city in Texas where they built one in the 70s. It ran for about 6 years and it produced a lot of energy. But then the oil companies realized that the oil was cheap, and the whole let's say climate change meme was suppressed by Ronald Reagan. You can really call Ronald Reagan the biggest murderer in humanity. Quite clearly, because there were two reports, one of the climatologist and one of an independent Jason group, that both said that climate would change about 3 degrees by 2050 or something like that, and that it was a problem and that we should do something about it. And Ronald Reagan didn't like that. It would be bad for the economy. Well, no, it would not be bad for the economy. He was a puppet of the oil interests. And so he protected those interests. It's just the job security of oil companies, because clean wealth is completely attainable. And well, the solar ball is one of the examples. Another example that I have a website about is the parabolic trough. What you basically do is, well, this is the mirror. If you can see that you can bend it. If you put in the focal point here, let's say where my nose is, you put a tube. Then you can catch the heat of the sun efficiently. And there are different designs. You can have an open one and you can have a closed one. You can have one with a glass tube which is vacuum evacuated, so you get more isolation in the focal point, and you can generate up to 300 degrees Celsius. And you can imagine that this plate this stuff can be about €20 per square meter. And then the support costs also a little bit. So let's say it all costs like €30 per square meter. Commercial energy companies right now that are building these huge installations calculate about €400 to €600 per square meter. So they're basically robbing the government of subsidy. They're not doing it the cheapest way they can. And why is that? Because they are competing with oil and or let's say gas powered and coal powered gas and coal fired power plants that are still costing billions, which is also ridiculous. But nobody ever questions that, because the oil lobbies shut that up, and the energy lobbies shut that type of debate up. Why would it cost so much money to build if the long story short, cost of power plants is way too high. So those are two things: the parabolic-trough.org or solartrough.org. You can do both, and the solarball.org. And I could use support with it, and if you're interested in building one, I can help you with that. And I would really appreciate if people get cracking doing things like that. And if you have a clean energy company or you want to publish in Holland, I have a website. It's called greencheck.nl, which is read by a couple of hundred people each day, and it's the public is growing. It's not that much, I have to admit, but it is growing steadily, week on week. So if you have an American company or an American clean energy company that you want to promote in Holland, then I can translate, of course, and I can publish that on that site. And also for that I would like to have some support. Of course, I can use all the support I can get.